Yo, I'm Bob. Totally blind since birth into Power Rangers. Got the Shout Factory box set in my hands. Talking about Season 2, Episode 20 of Mighty Morphin. It's actually the 80th episode of the show overall. This is Opposites Attract, premiered on October 25th in 1994. I'd watched this on premiere day. I also recorded it on audio cassette, of all things, in spring of 1995 when it aired in reruns during what Fox Kids dubbed True Blue Week. We got 5 reruns spotlighting Billy, the original Blue Ranger, played by David Yost. It all led up to Blue Ranger Gone Bad, a new episode that would premiere that particular Saturday in May. I think we got Opposites Attract, we got Something Fishy. What else did we get? We got Peace, Love, and Woe. Oh yeah, an I guy, one of my favorites. So yeah, it was an interesting week for recording episodes on audio cassette there, True Blue Week. I love this one when it premiered, and I think it's still one of my favorites, simply because we get to see Lord Zed causing a lot of chaos this episode. Billy's trying to build a polarizer. It's a polarizing gauge, rather, and he's trying to monitor the events of a magnetic storm. It happens only every 100 years. He meets a girl named Laura. Sparks are kind of flying there. Lord Zed wants to make sparks fly too, of course, by turning Billy's polarizer into the magnet brain monster. And it's going to throw its staff into the sky, according to Ranger Wiki. Causes some kind of whirly-do that is going to cause the Earth to tilt and spin, or maybe tilt or spin off of its axis. Zed says he wants to disintegrate the Earth forever. I don't know. There's no Tony Stark in the Power Rangers universe to sacrifice himself, so it's up to the Rangers to stop the magnet brain. It's one of my all-time favorite episodes because we get to see Bulk and Skull menaced by a bear. Yeah, they have to go out into the woods. They've built some kind of device, and it's going to send a message to the satellite in the sky. They're hoping to find out who the Power Rangers really are, but yeah, they wind up being chased by a bear. And the sound effects used for the bear's growls, we'll hear that later when Serpentera shows up. It's one of the sound effects they add to the Serpentera sound mix. And it sounds a lot like one of the sound effects they use for Man Spider during Spider-Man Season 2, the animated series, Neogenic Nightmare, that arc there, when we see the Man Spider showing up for the first time. Some people attribute these sounds, I'm guessing it's this one sound we hear in this episode, as well as the Serpentera episodes and the Man-Spider episodes from Spider-Man. They attribute this guttural, nightmarish bear growl to voice actor Jim Cummings. You may have heard of him. He's voiced characters like, I don't know, some guy named Winnie the Pooh, Hondo Onaka from the Clone Wars. He's a very prolific voice actor. I mean, some say Jim Cummings did this guttural bear growly noise. It's just something I've seen floating around for years on the internet. I don't know if it's fact. I'm not counting my chickens, but I think it would be really cool if somehow Jim Cummings contributed to Power Rangerdom as he did with so many other shows on Fox Kids back in the day. So we have Billy. He's attacked by Goldar in the park, and he's got some putties with him as well. I love this putty battle here. It's short, but it's sweet. For the longest time, I thought Billy was attacked in his garage. I had no idea it happened at the park until reading about it very recently online. I thought it was some kind of home invasion thing. It would have meshed with all the other chaos Lord Zed was causing this episode. We actually did see putties attacking Billy's lab, I think, in Doomsday Part 2, way back in Season 1. So yeah, the polarizing gauge is turned into the monster, and things start to go nuts because he throws his staff into the sky. It sounds like a lot of objects are just flying around everywhere in the youth center there. Luckily, nobody got hurt by the workout equipment. I think Jason and Tommy and Zach were working out. Jeez, thank goodness for no broken legs. You wouldn't have any Power Rangers. Well, you would have Power Rangers, but, they'd have to go to the ER in this episode. Jeez. So you've got that going on. We have Kimberly and Laura. They've taken the Girl Scouts, the Angelettes, out to the woods as well. And Lord Zed decides to send some putties down to menace them. man, he is not pulling his punches in this episode. The Rangers are given the 411 on the monster in the command center, and you've got Tommy. He's got to split off from the Ranger team and take on Goldar and the Putties. He's got to save the Girl Scouts from the Putty attack there. And I always thought this was one of Zed's most devious plans because he's going after kids in this episode. He doesn't usually do that. And on top of that, he's causing all kinds of natural chaos. Well, I guess it's unnatural because it's Lord Zed and it's more magic. But I really like the monster attack here. By the way, I wish Hasbro would make that in terms of the magnet brain. He could come with his staff, probably some blast effect pieces to simulate his magnetic personality. Maybe he'd actually have magnets installed in him and come with some metal blade blasters. I think he used those weapons against the Rangers at one point. I don't think he pulled them to him. Did something with them, though. I think he caused them to fire on them. But yeah, they get to form the Power Blaster. I like seeing that in Season 2. We didn't actually see it too much. I think only 4 or 5 appearances in Season 2 overall. Monster grows, Thunder Megazord summoned. He does throw a giant magnet at the Thunder Megazord. Magnet Brain does. That's the only thing he does before he's sliced into nothing by the Thunder Saber. And Zed, he's not actually too upset over the defeat of his monster. He doesn't even blame his minions as he narcissistically does, as usual. He's like, oh, well, science and monsters don't mix. I should have known. You haven't seen the last of Lord Zed. And then we get that interesting scene at the end of the episode where Bulk and Skull show up at the youth center, and they are screaming about an actual factual bear following them, and they are told by a bunch of Girl Scouts that they're insane. And this might not have been the best thing to tell Bulk and Skull, because, I mean, they might have actually believed it, gone back out there into the woods, and maybe wound up in Angel Grove Hospital. Luckily, they don't try going back out into the woods. They're fine. And the episode ends with everybody laughing at these guys. Ha ha ha, you're crazy. You just imagine the bear. Insanity is funny. So, yeah, the kids gaslit Bulk and Skull. And everybody had a grand old time. Bulk and Skull probably should have gone to see a therapist after this episode. They encounter monsters and bears and all kinds of things every week. These two must have had to do some major, I don't know, visits with their school counselor. Jeez, how many monster attacks and animal attacks has it been? Later in Season 2, they get teleported out into the Australian outback and they're chased by, I think it's a kangaroo, maybe a koala bear. I don't know, no audio description to these episodes, but these guys have just been through the wars. So next time we're going to be talking about one of my favorite Halloween-centric Power Rangers episodes. It is Lord Zed's Monster Mash, or just Zed's Monster Mash, I think. I actually saw this the day it premiered as well, and it's one of my favorites. So be here for this lively Ranger discussion next time. Quite a lot of fun with this episode. Till next time, may the power protect you.